Good evening, and welcome to all. This Poquoson City Council work session is called to order. Tonight, we'll have discussion of both a conditional zoning request and a comprehensive plan amendment request submitted by Bob W. Moses, representing the Fountains of Poquoson, and Albert S. White III. We have with us our Director of Community Development, Mr. Wiley Horton, and our Director of Planning, Ms. Laura Noose, and they have a presentation for us. So,
thank you.
Wiley, Laura, take it away. Thank you.
I'm going to step up here tonight just because I'm a little bit closer and I can point out a few things. As the mayor pointed out, this is a conditional rezoning and a comprehensive plan amendment for Bob Moses and Albert Sidney White. And this will be 4 parcels total is what we're looking at for the rezoning, as well as the comprehensive plan amendment. And this is where they're located. If you look at the stars, that's the 4 properties that we're talking about. We've got the 2 over here that, as you'll see in the next slide, are pretty heavily wooded. This is more grass, I'll guess. And there's the aerial right there. You can see the EDA pond. A lot of references made of west of EDA pond and east of EDA pond. East, this is where he wants to put the townhomes, 38 of them, and 28 duplex units down in this area. Now there's a lot of paths around here, and I was looking at this, and instead of reading this to you, maybe I can do it, show you better on this map here. This was phase 1 and phase 2. That was rezoned village commercial back in May of 2012. There was also a comprehensive plan amendment to put that into village commercial use as designated on comprehensive future land use map. Comprehensive plan, future land use map. There was a later rezoning in 2016. Well, I guess I should say, there was also a conditional use permit up here to allow second floor residential over commercial. In other words, 2 floors of residential and 1 floor of commercial. Had a rezoning here in 2016. As you can see, the latest plans were for a 2-to-1 mixture of residential to commercial over that entire phase 3 area and the phase 4 area. All of these have expired now. All of these conditional use permits have expired. Some of y'all that were here then may remember that Mr. Moses did come for an extension of his conditional use permit on phase 2, but that ran out in September 2021. So it's been out for quite some time. But if he had developed this according to what he was thinking at the time, we would have had 52 residential units over 62,600 square feet, and we would have had 600 square feet of commercial space. This is slightly less than a 2-to-1 ratio and a little bit less than 2/3 of the entire development. But nevertheless, that's what we would have had. As I said, those are all expired. Even if he was going to restart today on something like that, he'd be starting from scratch. Okay, the overall site, I guess you get the gist of this. It's not been developed according to how Mr. Moses had envisioned when he first started out. Most recent utilization of the front parcels with the townhomes, and I'll get to those in a minute, are going to be, it's been as a laydown yard. Mr. Moses is of the opinion that the residential units will go better and that he will have an easier time getting bank funding for those residential units. But there's no getting around the fact that this is an entirely new plan for the area. There's no more consideration of commercial. It will be R3, which will be townhomes and duplexes, and absolutely no commercial at all. Okay, so let's get to Bob Moses' proposal. By the way, he is not here tonight. He will be here on the 23rd. And his transportation impact analysis principal writer, Mr. Michael Bradley, will be here on the 23rd as well. Okay, so this is the front. He's got his units. He's got a new access coming off of Wolf Creek Boulevard, about a 24-foot wide access with 25-foot radii, which would be somewhere in there. The circulation, he is also going to have some access to this area along this area of Alpha Street as well. So, theoretically, you could come in here and you could go out that way, or vice versa. Now, of course, he's stated, I kind of borrowed this from Mr. Moses, but he has stated that he will be in compliance with R3. Site plan, of course, will make sure of that. These are some architectural renderings that Mr. Moses and Mr. White had submitted along with his application. And the applicant has proffered that the development will be in accord with these conceptual drawings. This is for the townhomes now. Oh, yeah, I just lost my place. Hit the wrong button. Okay, so that's the front, obviously. That's the rear. And this is sort of, it's a drawing of how it will look from the street, basically. And that is a first floor and second floor mock-up. This is in your staff report as well, but I just want to cover it, not only for the council and the staff, but for those who might be watching at home. Okay, the back part of the parcel, the heavily wooded part of the parcel, he's looking at 14 two-story, two-family dwellings, 28 total units. He's proposing them to be accessed off this 24-foot curb and gutter road. We've looked at this, and the site plan is going to call for that to be a public road. Mr. Moses has been informed of this. And it looks to me, not that I'm a traffic engineer, but it looks like to me this road may have to go back there in order to give a straighter access into the development. And of course, this down here is just phase one of his building. That's the one that worked, although he does have a hard time getting commercial uses in there.
Ollie,
Yes,
did you say it was to be a public road?
this will be via public road, yes, sir.
Okay,
He's
that-
not showing that on this concept plan, but that's what we're working on.
Missed the point.
And again, he submitted some conceptual drawings here of the townhomes and what they'll look like. As you can see, there's definitely two residences, two-story. I did it again. Okay, this is the rear of the duplexes. And this is sort of a mock-up of how they'll look from the front on the top and from the rear on the bottom. And that's a mock-up of the room layout inside the duplexes as well. Comprehensive plan submissions, part of this is a comprehensive plan amendment. I think I can boil this all down by saying if the council does vote to approve the R3, that it would make sense to go ahead and redesignate the whole area to high-density residential as is characterized in our zoning ordinance. Keep in mind that R3 is our highest density residential. That would keep the zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan in alignment. If this is denied, then the proposed amendment, we would recommend that you just keep it village commercial the way it is now. The entrance, as I stated earlier, he is going to have a new entrance off Wolf Creek Road. to access the 38 townhomes. There is going to be that secondary avenue off of Alpha Street. The second access for the 28 duplexes, as I stated earlier, that would have to be a public road. Right now, he's showing a very curved road, 24 feet with curb and gutter. The reason I say he may have to come forward is I don't know if his turn radius is going to be sufficient to meet public street standards. But we'll, yes?
Excuse me, before you go to the next slide, can you back up to the slide before I have a question about that?
Sure I can.
The last comment at the bottom of it, can you explain that to me?
Well, if the R3 rezoning, conditional rezoning, is denied by the city council on the 23rd, then it really doesn't make sense to redesignate the whole area R3. Because one of the things that we're trying to do, or as I understand it anyway, is to try to keep the zoning ordinance and the comprehensive plan in alignment. So if you don't approve the R3, it stays village commercial. So you might as well designate it as village commercial in the comprehensive plan. That'll be in alignment. Did I explain that right, or?
Continue with your slide. I need to think about that.
Okay, we can get back to that.
Want to get ready to comprehensive
Okay.
when we're done with it.
The submitted traffic impact analysis, I'll use the acronym TIA, includes the 66 units. There was one recommendation made on it. I believe I enclosed the executive summary in the report. But the applicant has, well, construction of a full movement driveway with one ingress lane and one egress lane off of Wood Creek Road. He is showing that in his plan, and we did note that there's a stop sign added there too, at the corner of what will be the new Wood Creek Road access. The level of service categories are in the A and B range on a scale of A through F. 2 instances of C flow will be offset by adhering to the recommendation of the traffic impact analysis. A and B range, basically a stable flow. You're not impeded by other people on the road. So, additional steps. There's a fair amount of additional steps. In order to carry out the proposal, it will be necessary to vacate boundary lines. The town houses and the duplexes will be fee simple, real estate deed. The applicant has provided for, that's one thing I didn't cover, 15-foot easement over tax pin. It says it's tax pin with the building on it. And that's just basically to allow walking between the two sections of this development. Site plan is also required and must be approved along with meeting all city land use provisions before any construction activities occur. This includes all building permits, all requirements wrapped up in one. The Planning Commission did vote 4-2 to recommend denial of this request, both requests actually, the rezoning request and the comprehensive plan amendment request. So they voted 4-2 against both of them. The following 4 items have been proffered by the applicant, and if you'll beg my indulgence, I will read those in. The units will be age restricted to 55 and over. The applicant shall grant a future 20-foot wide easement in the areas shown on the presentation by Robert Moses, which is considered the Alpha Street Extension corridor. Now, of course, I've already said we'll need a public road in there too. So this is on top of that. Nothing that he's proffering overrides any site plan requirements. The applicant will provide a connector easement. That's that 15-foot easement that goes partly over the phase 1 property to connect the properties on the west side of the EDA pond to the properties on the east side. The overall layout, including all constructed buildings, shall be in conformance with the proposed layout and architectural renderings submitted as part of the development. And I went over those a little bit a while ago, but those are the buildings and the layouts that you saw earlier. So we will be in compliance with that. And with that, I'll take any questions you might have. Yes, sir.
Wally, on your additional step slide, about 3 back, I think,
Okay.
first sentence, says they will be zoned real estate. What are they now?
Well, right now, they don't exist at all.
Say it again.
Right now, they don't exist at all. But what we've done in the case of the villas
okay.
and the village park is we've done the deed.
The pond, whatever it's called, will that still be in the possession of the city?
The pond, yeah, it'll still be an EDA pond, and that's one of the things Mr. Moses will have to demonstrate as part of his overall site plan, is that he does have enough, excuse me, capacity to treat the impervious area.
So the city will be required to maintain it and anything that's around it?
Well, the EDA has a separate agreement with Mr. Moses right now. And one of the things that we will do as he moves forward with his site plan is to verify that the EDA is, for lack of a better term, okay with the development. Which, by the way, will probably be a little bit less than the development he had that's all expired. But
I was just curious as to who's going to mow the area and/or knock down weeds, and do they have access to get there?
well, the EDA has access to get into the pond, but Bob Moses will have to, to do his site in order that it effectively drains into it and, that it works, essentially. Yeah.
Wally,
Yes.
could you help me with, I have a Poquoson Land Use 101 question for you.
No, that's fine.
So, thank you. So I know that if a parcel is zoned commercial by nature, including village commercial, or let's flip that. If a parcel is zoned residential, you cannot do a conditional use permit for something commercial in nature. You have to do a rezoning, right? Because
Well,
that's
correct.
changed
In
relative.
the past, we've used conditional use permits to solve a lot of problems, but I agree with you, it'd be better to go rezoning.
So for residential, so I didn't think we could get CUPs for commercial nature or a significant CUP on a residential.
Well, no, we cannot,
Parcel.
we cannot, and yeah.
And then,
That's true, and that's one reason we're going to rezone.
and then if we flip it, if you have a commercial property, including village commercial, can you do a CUP for something residential in nature?
Well, you might be able to do a CUP, but we're trying to think of how a bank might look at this. I mean, a rezoning is permanent, and a conditional
Yeah.
use permit can be revoked at any time, for any number of transgressions.
So once this is zoned residential, then that's
That's
all
it.
she wrote until.
It's residential,
Yeah, it's
yes.
residential, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have a drawing showing its location relative to the commercial properties nearest?
Yeah, I can go back to the top and kind of show you. I'm sorry to do this. Probably a better way to do it, but I'm not always the most critical savvy. But these 4 properties here would go to R3. These properties here would stay village commercial. This property would stay village commercial. This would stay general commercial. And these would all stay B2.
So the area designated by the 2 long parallel vertical stars will back up to commercial property.
Well, that's actually R3 property down there. That's the villas. But they're Yeah, I think, I mean, that's business right there. I think it'd be shaded differently, but I believe it's village commercial as well.
Yep. Now, originally, you said prior to 2012, that whole area was considered general commercial GC? All this area?
This area in here was general commercial, yes. This area was actually still B2 back then.
Powers that be changed that slightly by making it village commercial, in order to allow businesses to exist, but residential space above them, as was in the very first building that was built, right?
Correct.
And now we're talking about, screw that, whoever said it was commercial to begin with, and then modified to be village commercial, didn't know what they were talking about, and didn't have that vision for any kind of commercial thing in the main corridor that is for commercial existence in the city.
Well, I think I can answer that by saying that when Mr. Moses began this process, he intended for it to be a mixed use development, and that's why he needed to go to village commercial, because that's a zoning district that allows that. And the city council approved several conditional use permits that instead of a 1-to-1, he could go to a 2-to-1 ratio of residential to commercial.
But
Right. If
the question is, we're wiping out, as Angie was kind of saying, we're wiping out commercial at all if we rezone this.
on those 4 properties, yes, they would be residential. They'd be townhomes and duplexes.
I don't really have a problem with those 2 parcels on the left side, west side, because they're backing up against Legacy.
Well, here's the aerial right
Like,
here.
against the 2 EDA properties, 2 Legacy properties, which aren't being developed or planned anyway, and the so-called gun range. I don't have a problem really with that being residential. I kind of have a problem with taking the part that's right off Will Creek Road and changing that around to make it purely residential. Is there any discussion in all this stuff? Because I heard that and I'm about to say at the planning commission meeting, I'm glad they brought it up, the nasty word, affordable housing.
I don't remember affordable housing coming up.
Has mentioned it and he kind of dismissed it because it was laughable at times, but just wanted to see if there was any talk of it. Because we're talking about 55 and above.
Right.
I saw what the prices happened 20 years ago, put in the villas. You know, they were selling for 200 when they started. By the time they're done, they were selling 300, and now they're in the upper 300s.
Any other questions or comments for Wiley? Thank you, Wiley. Appreciate the
Thank you.
presentation.
I suggest we take a 6-minute break.
Yes, okay, with that, we will adjourn the work session and we'll take a 6-minute break. Good evening and welcome to all. This Poquoson City Council meeting is called to order. Item B on the agenda is the invocation and pledge of allegiance, which will be led by Councilwoman Jeannie Hubbard.
Please rise. Let us pray. Almighty God, we ask your blessing on this council and the work before us this evening. Grant us clear minds, steady judgment, and a sincere desire to seek the good of our whole community. Guide our discussions as we hear about the work of our community college, and as we consider matters affecting our schools and the stewardship of the resources entrusted to us. In this season where the days are growing longer and the weather reminds us of change, help us remain faithful in service, patient in listening, and united in purpose. All this we ask in your name. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jeannie. Item C on our agenda is a special presentation. Tonight, our presentation is related to the Virginia Peninsula Community College, and we are pleased and honored to have with us tonight Dr. Carrie Ragnow. Dr. Ragnow is the Vice President of Academic Affairs. We have Mr. Seth Fisher. Mr. Fisher is the Director of Advising, and we have Ms. Tracy Wright. She is the Director of Campus and Community Initiatives for the historic Triangle Campus. So welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Looking forward to your presentation. And we're all quite familiar with Virginia Peninsula Community College and the impact that that's had on the area and the region, and beyond that, going back to the 1960s. I know both of my daughters took classes there. My brother graduated from there. And I know numerous council members and staff members have also benefited of what the college has to offer. So thank you again, and the floor is yours.
Well, I want to first say thank you all so much for having us. I'm super excited you took up part of my job of introducing everybody, so thank you. You made my life easier.
You're welcome.
So just want to thank you all so much for allowing us to come and to provide these updates. Super exciting. We got to always love when there's positive updates coming too. So just wanted to get started with our first positive. So we did have some decrease in a little time, but we are super excited. The past 2 years, we have seen an increase in enrollment, and we're shooting for that third one coming up. What's super exciting is we're seeing not just first-time freshmen coming, we're also seeing returning students as well. And we're also seeing students that are working and have families as well. So super exciting with that, and continuing to have that growth that we're seeing there from the 2023, 2024, and 2025. So super excited about that. And then what y'all are the most interested about is Poquoson. So we have a 3% student ratio at our school from Poquoson. That equals about 272 students. What's super exciting is we're actually visiting schools now, which we have actually seen an uptick of students that are more likely to come talk to us, understanding what community college has to offer. So we have different initiatives that we've been really putting into effect to help students to understand what their best options are to help them take that next step in education. One is our fast track. That's the one that we actually have at our school, but we also have another one where we actually go to the schools, like I was saying, and we're actually able to help meet with the seniors to be able to take that next step and actually have them talk to an advisor and also enrollment specialist to make sure they know what's going on, and that financial aid to make sure they know that budget as well. We also have where we've been connecting with students that have stopped out due to family reasons or different things that have happened, and helping them finish that degree that they so hardly worked on to make sure that they're taking that next step to complete that degree. And then we do have our college navigators and recruiters that are always going to the schools. Super excited that they'll be coming and doing more with the students to be able to help them understand their next steps. And then also we have our student in orientation. Super excited, they'll talk a little bit more about it, but we opened up our theater. So our theater opened up, and that was actually where we had our first new student orientation this fall. So that was really exciting to be able to see students back in our theater for that. So I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Anya.
Thank you, Seth. Good evening, everybody. Thank you again so much for having us. I am Carrie Ronyo. I'm the Vice President for Academic Affairs, and happy to talk to you a little bit about our non-credit workforce student programs and then our dual enrollment programs, both of which also serve Poquoson population. So one of the ways we serve workforce students is through a program called Fast Forward. Has anyone heard of that before? There is legislation supporting that program, and as you can see by the bar chart, our demand for that program has far exceeded the funding for that program. It's been very successful over many years. So that is essentially a workforce credential grant, and it gives financial assistance covering 2/3 of the students' tuition for short-term programs. So it's aimed at getting students into a program that will prepare them for a workforce-related credential or license, and then back into the workforce, either to upskill or serve in new high-demand positions for them. Residents pay then only 1/3 of that cost up front, so it's a great deal for students. So we've seen growth since 2016 by 127%, and it is growing 20% year over year, which is huge growth. It has exceeded its annual allocation for 4 years. We were able to cover that at the college last year. We are no longer able to cover that. So there was a legislative ask, so fingers crossed that will proceed through accordingly and we will get some additional funding. Otherwise, we will unfortunately have significantly less financial assistance for those Fast Forward programs. Those non-academic programs include a variety of different workforce trades, including allied healthcare, HVAC, information technology, and of course welding, which is a big one in our area with shipbuilding. And again, the short term is anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months for those students to get the skills that they need or get third-party industry credentials. As you can see by this chart, our enrollment is tracking based on some areas where we have had some significant investment in the recent years. We anticipated growth in Newport News and then in Williamsburg, James City County. They are number 1 and number 3 largest users of Fast Forward funding. Poquoson is an opportunity area for us. We would love to serve more of the Poquoson population. We currently have 11 students taking part in Fast Forward programming. We are also going to add additional programs that may interest your population. We are looking to add structural fitting, construction trades, hospitality, and behavioral health technician, which is a very quickly growing field, meeting our local behavioral health needs. So let's talk about a little of a dual enrollment, one of my favorite topics. This is something my staff and I spend a lot of time on with our partners at Poquoson High School as well. As you can see, dual enrollment is no different than our regular enrollment. It has been ticking upward in the last few years, showing our headcount growth and our full-time equivalent growth. 2021 is the last benchmark where we're seeing major growth since that date. We anticipate more growth over the next several years. And this past year, Poquoson High School has partnered with us for the College Now program, where students will be able to graduate with an associate's in social sciences. And every high school in the state is now required to offer a uniform certificate of general studies, which is essentially the first year, 30 credits of a degree, general education courses, and within that, a passport, which is about half a year or 16 credits of transfer education. Each of the courses contained in that uniform certificate of general studies and passport will transfer to any public institution. It is the exact same curriculum at every single public institution, 2-year or 4-year, in the state of Virginia. So we worked very hard on that, and I'm excited to be able to present that to your high school students. Here is our locality information for dual enrollment, and this is just showing you the enrollment of all high school students. starting in 2021 and then now in 24-25. And you will see that in 2021-22, Poquoson had about 6.4% of that pie of overall dual enrollment students, and then now we're looking at about 4.6. And here's another way to look at the numbers. The student enrollment has stayed pretty steady between 117 and 122 over those last several years. And again, we're looking forward to serving more students upcoming with the additional programs that have been added in your city. So let's talk about retaining and making sure students complete. So enrollment is very important, but not if our students are not retained so that they can complete and get what they need out of our programming at Virginia Peninsula Community College. More points of pride here on this slide. Our fall-to-fall retention rates are up. Our degrees and certificates awarded are up. And again, those short-term fast-forward programs that I mentioned earlier are way up as well. So retaining and graduating those students is the main way that we strengthen the local workforce and make sure those folks can contribute well to our economy. One of the ways we focus on student retention and completion is through initiatives like tutoring, intrusive advising, student engagement activities. We have a strong athletics program that is growing. We also invest quite a bit in faculty professional development to make sure that students are always receiving current, relevant curriculum that is centered on the needs of our workforce here on the peninsula. We have wellness initiatives on the campus. We also have a bridge program for students who would like to go on and transfer to our four-year institutions. We don't want our students at VPCC to simply transfer. We want to know what our four-year institutions are going to do for VPCC students. So we have scholarship funding, we have priority enrollment and housing funding for local institutions. We have a variety of other initiatives such as receiving advising, library services, access to sports at the receiving four-year institution, even while those students are still our students, to make sure that that transition is seamless and those students can really achieve what they would like to. And finally, we also have career readiness initiatives. So for those students who want to know, what can I do with this degree or certificate or short-term training program, we use a tool called Lightcast to help students explore different careers, think about what they might be interested in and what might be the best investment for their time and money. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon again. I have the opportunity to talk about another important part because I know you all are kind enough to contribute some funds to help us provide these wonderful educational opportunities to the students. So you want to know what's the return on your investment. And I'm happy to tell you that SHEV, which is a state organization, did a study about the mobility and comparing students who attend a community college versus those who attend four-year institutions. And you can see there on the screen that there's a nice difference in terms of the students that come and study at an institution in Virginia, whether it's a two-year institution like Virginia Peninsula, or if it's a four-year institution like all of our amazing four-year partners, CNU and William and Mary, any of those. The students that go to a four-year institution, only 47% of them stay and reside and work in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth, once they graduate, compared to 78% of students who attend a community college. So you're more likely to have students that will stay and work in the communities in which they're studying. But the other important part to you is, what are they doing? Are they getting jobs? You know, that's really why a lot of people are going to get this education, is to better prepare them for economic mobility through a better position and career. And you can see there what's happening. 72.4% of our students will transfer, college students transfer, graduates are employed within 18 months. 80.9, almost 81% of our career and technical graduates are employed within 18 months as well. And then 77.7% of our short-term fast forward completers are employed within 6 months. So it's really important that they're putting their VPCC credential to work for them. But we're not just sitting around resting on our laurels. We've been busy making some things happen on campus because we know our students coming to us are expecting certain things, amenities and spaces that they can study and learn in and gather and build friendships. So we've been working on renovating some of our student spaces. Some of you might recall that in 2021, our roof collapsed on our theater. Thankfully, it was right during the time of COVID, and folks were not there. So that was a huge blessing. It took a while for us to rebuild it, but we're very grateful that in January of this year, we were able to hold our grand reopening. And so it's beautiful. Has anyone been there yet? Yay! Bring the rest of them on over. We have a couple of plays coming up, so we invite you to come over this semester. That fast, our theater students are pulling themselves together. They've been waiting for this moment. And have any of you been over to Newport News to our Center for Excellence in Early Childhood Development? Oh, y'all got to get over there. It's a beautiful space. It's a collaborative space between the City of Newport News, the Peak Childhood Development Center, and our institution. So students are being trained on one side of the building in early childhood education, and then they can walk right down the hall and around the corner, going through, of course, the safety and security measures, and do their practicums at the Peak Childhood Development Center. And the City of Newport News helped provide the funding for the building and all those things, the utilities. It's really a beautiful space, and we've heard from other of our localities that we should have talks about trying to do something similar other places. In March, if you haven't already received an invite, you will receive one to come over to Newport News, where we're opening up a new trade center that will focus in maritime industries, again, meeting the needs of the area there. And then we have a new academic building that I know Dr. Rano is just too excited about, that's up for development. So all of that is going on. What are our students saying? For me, I'm a student affairs person from back in the day, and so that's really always important to me, and where I get my charge is talking with our students. I feel like I work for the students. That's who I'm there for. And so our students are telling us things. We survey them on the regular. And so you can see some of the comments on the screen. I'll read just a couple of them. I'm grateful to VPCC for respecting my long-term enrollment, being patient with me, constantly re-enrolling. The college has been very accommodating through all of my changes and my growth. And then lastly, looking back, I truly appreciate how helpful and understanding everyone at the college has been. They have shown that they care about students, not just academically, but personally as well. Because of their support, I've been able to stay focused, make informed choices, and feel confident in my path. I'm grateful for the positive experience and proud to be a part of this college community. So we're letting the students speak for the work that we do day in and day out. We believe and know that we have an outstanding product. It's so good that all the four-year institutions in our area, as well as beyond, are coming to our campuses on the regular to recruit our students, and some trying to snatch them away before they get their associate's degrees. So we're proud of what we do. We thank you all for your support. And we thank you again for the opportunity to be here. My colleagues and I are happy to entertain questions if there's time, or if that would be appropriate.
Yes, ma'am, it would be appropriate, and we do have time. Council members?
Go ahead, Guy.
Me first? Okay, thanks. Ms. Fisher, you mentioned that you have people that are recruiting students. Are they out in schools like on a weekly basis?
Yes, so we have Jamal Davis, who is actually our recruiter, so he's been going to different schools almost every day. So he actually travels to different schools every day. He does talk to them, talk to the students as he goes in. And then we have navigators in those ones that we visit. So we actually reached out to all of our schools and we said, hey, we'd love to come visit and do those in-school visits. And that's actually where we'll actually be going and coming to the schools and do that. So yes, we actually have it kind of twofold, where we have one person that comes around and visits, but then we also have a team that comes and does that one-stop shop.
Is that relatively new, recruiter?
It is. So Jamal, I think, has only been with us for, I think this is his second year. So yes, it is a newer thing. We did have a little bit, and then COVID kind of screwed up some different things. But we have been bringing it back and making sure that we're getting back into the high schools and also middle schools. We actually have middle schools and high schools that do visit us as well.
I know that back in 2005 to 2010, they had 2 people that did that, and the enrollment at that time went way up.
Yeah.
And then they did away with it, and then it leveled off and then sank like a rock. So it's a good thing.
Yes, and we're super excited. Jamal does a fantastic job as well as the one-stop shop when we go around to help as well.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I used to teach at VPCC when it was previous Thomas Nelson.
Would you like to come back?
So I'm looking at the 2 pie charts, the first one on dual enrollment by locality, and then the other one on the fast-forward enrollment. I'm curious, I think it would be helpful to the communities, and I know you don't have those numbers off the cuff, but when we're looking at 4.6%, because Poquoson is a smaller community, and both questions are geared to this, it would be lovely to see what percentage of our student high school population is involved in that program. And I think that that might be more telling for us compared to these much larger school systems.
Yes, that's a great metric. I'll make a note.
Okay, and then the other piece on the slide, 2 slides before that one, for the workforce fast forward enrollment 24-25, those 11 students, you had mentioned funding being a challenge in the future and that you've already put the ask out.
Yes.
Because of those population differences in the communities, what type, or have you considered protective measures, because you're going to end up making some hard decisions on who can participate and get that funding, who can't. What type, when we see 11, I don't know what that criteria is that allowed those students to be, was there criteria where they were declined because we already are well below, having to fund more than we've been given, right? You. And then what happens if they cut that funding? How do we protect Poquoson?
That's an outstanding question, and you're right. I am not sure exactly what happens. I know that we covered the funding for the year that was mentioned here. And for this year, there was a pause. I want to speak to Todd Estes is my counterpart who would be able to answer this best for you. So I'm going to get with him and reply back to you all a little bit later. But if I recall what he shared, there was a pause in funding going through the summer of 2025, and then we were able to start again. So what that did to specific groups or populations, I'm not sure. That I will have to ask him.
Because that's very important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because you could snuff out 2 of those communities without even blinking.
Yeah, that makes good sense. Thank you for the question.
And one thing I did want to touch upon that, we are finding different fundings from different places as well. I was actually, sorry, sure everybody can hear me. One of the things that we've actually just were working on, the financial aid director and myself and Todd Estes, who is head of our workforce, we actually have a grant that we were actually able to use to help more students for that. So even there was pause, we were able to still help students with that aspect because we had that grant that we were able to get the students. So we have been really trying to figure out how can we use grants that we have to help students in any way we can, making sure that it's not just credit side but also non-credit, which you're seeing up here. So that has been one of the things, even though we did have some times where we were like, okay, we have to cover something, we were finding different ways to be able to do that as well. So just wanted to make sure we pointed that out.
And I did want to mention that I did have 1 in dual enrollment, 1 in associate program, and 1 in workforce development in my family. So we like it there.
I love it.
Go Gators. That's go
There you go.
Gators right there. Yes.
And I noticed y'all have some green, so thank you.
Do you think that that most four-year colleges offer online courses now? Has that had any effect on your enrollment? Or have you thought of that?
That's a great question. So about 50% of all of our offerings are online on the credit side, on my side of the house, not for workforce. We do have a lot of competition for online teaching and learning. That space is becoming pretty saturated. Almost every institution, if not every institution, 2-year or 4-year, is absolutely finding their way into that online market. A few years ago, looking at it as a pretty good cash cow. Now that we have saturation, I'm not sure how well that's working for those institutions that were really wanting to find a way to some additional funding sources through there. But we do have competition, and that's one of the reasons why we work so hard to not only market our programs, but make sure that our faculty are top tier and able to teach very well in both in person and online.
I knew a lot of students that would come home for the summer and take courses at your place.
Yes.
And now it seems to me they tend to take an online course from their four-year school.
They will sometimes, but we do have many, many, many students that we call them visiting students that come home for the summer, and they'll either come in person or online, particularly to make up general education credits.
A quick question. Have you done any measurement of the level of learning online versus in-person classroom? Differences there? I would suspect there probably is, but I'm...
You're asking about learning successful completion of
Yes.
these programs. That is something we are held accountable for. We must make sure that students have an equal experience, whether they're attending in a classroom or online. That's why we invest so heavily in tutoring and other supports for students and that faculty engagement and training. So if we do notice in an individual course or a program overall that we're not seeing the metrics that we need to see for success, or there is a difference between online and face-to-face, then we're able to address that immediately and make sure that we make the shift needed.
I have a question. I was looking online at your programs. I'd mentioned a little bit earlier, and Poquoson does have the College Now program. It's a new program. Looking there were also some partner municipalities that had, I think it was early college. And what's the difference between College Now versus early college?
So early college is available to everybody. It's a program that exists if schools would like to participate, and it's simply that students are who are qualified for dual enrollment. They are high school students who are eligible to take college courses as defined by our metrics for admission, can come to the campus and take courses that may not actually give them credit both in their high school class and their college course. So some of those students are coming to us and taking things like psychology or sociology or advanced math, or things that aren't available in the high school. So that's early college program. And College Now is the special program that we worked on and launched in the fall of this year, where students are taking as many classes as possible in their home high school dual enrollment, meaning as many courses as we could find, what I call crosswalk. They give credit for high school and credit for college in one course, and then any additional courses that don't do that, Poquoson will bus over, or students will drive over and take on campus or online. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Dr. Rania, Mr. Fisher, and Ms. Wright, thank you so much for being with us. Y'all obviously have a servant's mentality. We admire that. We have that in common with y'all as well. We appreciate and admire your positivity and your enthusiasm. Your presence tonight has certainly added value to our meeting. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you all again for having us. We appreciate it.
That concludes our special presentation tonight. We'll move on to item D on our agenda, which is the audience for visitors. At this time, we will open the floor for public comment related to the city, other than the public hearing, which we'll talk about in just a little while. Yes, sir.
If I could, ask Mr. Phelan to come forward and introduce you to Paul Phelan. He is our new city engineer. I told you I was going to introduce you, but I didn't tell you. You might have to stand up and speak, because I wanted you to come.
Paul Phelan, coming from the federal side, I was the Facilities Management Division Director at Naval Shipyard, graduated Southern Illinois University, and College William Mary for my MBA. And I look forward to doing lots of work for you all.
Excuse me, did I catch your name is Bob Phelan?
Paul.
Paul, okay.
Paul, welcome.
Thank you.
Is it Southern Illinois Carbondale?
Yes, Carbondale, yes, the correct one, right?
Hey, Paul.
Excellent.
Congratulations on your new job. Appreciate your interest in the city of Poquoson. Professionals like you are not all that easy to come by. And if you wouldn't mind, share a little bit about your military experience and your construction experience overseas.
Yes. So I'm also a retired lieutenant commander. Started off enlisted as a Navy nuclear machinist mate. After my first enlistment, that's when I went and got my degree. The war started in Afghanistan, and I went into the reserves, got my commission as a CEC officer. That's the Civil Engineering Corps, the Seabees. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Seabees. Spent a year and 7 months in Afghanistan, another 6 months in the Middle East, and then another 6 months in Europe. Really can't count that as a deployment, but they technically do call it a deployment. Did a lot of construction overseas, forward operating bases, mostly, contingency type stuff. When I did do the deployment in the Middle East, I was deployed with JSOC. Did a lot of development of their forward operating bases. I was in Jordan. I had a unit with me. I had guys in Syria, Jordan, Kuwait, and Iraq at the time. It was a really interesting time. Got to see Petra while I was there. That was neat. And any other questions?
Keith, did you have something else a minute ago?
No.
Okay.
Normally, yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Paul, thank you again for sharing that with us, and very interested and certainly highly qualified. Thank you.
Welcome.
Do we have any other public comment tonight? Okay, well, thank you. We will close the floor, and we'll move on to item E, which is approval of the minutes of the regular session from February 23rd, 2026. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Christie, call for vote, please.
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Mayor Huff?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. Do we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the budget retreat from February 24th, 2026?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Christie?
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting? Aye. Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Mayor Huff? Aye. Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. All right, moving on to item F, which is a public hearing related to an ordinance authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $3 million general obligation school bond of the city of Poquoson. The public hearing is now open, and we will have Ms. Tanya O'Connell, our Assistant City Manager, to give us a presentation on this topic. Tanya, the floor is yours. And I will add that there is no council action required tonight. At the council meeting on March 23rd, 2026, Davenport and Company, the city's financial advisor, will present the results of the financing proposals received at that time. So, Tanya,
Perfect. Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Manager, council members. Tonight is the formality. We have to hold the public hearing. Just open the hearing. Of course, if there's any audience that wish to speak for it or against it, they can do so. Other than that, we'll bring back the proposals on the March 23rd. Davenport will present the results for y'all to officially vote on which mechanism and institution we do go forward with.
I have a question.
Sure.
In the packet, where it talks about, and you introduced it this way, it says, ordinance authorizing the issuance not to exceed 3 million. Next page, it says authorizing the issuance of up to 5.8 million.
Correct.
What happened there?
So we have two things going on in the current issuance. We have the issuance for up to $3 million for the high school roof replacement. And then last year, we did an issuance for the HVAC. So we are looking to refinance that debt as well.
Okay.
So currently, we have a 4.27 interest rate on that debt. So we're trying to see if the market can better that.
Is that city advisor, financial advisor going to talk about both of these?
Absolutely. And we also have bond counsel here as well, Sand Anderson, that'll be here as far as the ordinance and any other concerns you have.
Any other questions or comments for Tanya? Tanya, thank you very much. Do we have anybody present tonight that would like to speak to us about this topic? Very well. We will close the floor, and with that, close the public hearing. And we'll move on to item G, new business. So we have one topic tonight. This is an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 26 for capital project fund. And we have Tanya back with us again, so thank you, Tanya.
Absolutely. So tonight, I'm coming to you with a request to have additional funding for the trim around Fire Station 2. When we did that functional capacity evaluation to determine the roof was bad, that did not include the trim around Fire Station 2. Says Keith Webb, who is our part-time construction manager, was with the contractor to determine that we really should replace that trim as well for efficiency purposes. So tonight, I come to you with a request of $32,743 to fund both the roof and the trim work around Fire Station 2, as well as giving me permission to have the city manager to sign that contract, because now with both those projects, it exceeds his authority. And we did have the funding available in the capital project fund.
Any questions or comments for Tanya? Thank you, Tanya.
No, thank you.
Do we have a motion and a second for approval?
Mr. Mayor, I propose an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2026 for a capital project fund.
Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Mayor Hooks? Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. All right, we will move on to item H, comments of the city manager. Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Only one item tonight, and it's just to reiterate a point Mr. Horton made earlier. For those that may have watched at home the work session pertaining to the upcoming rezoning by Bob Moses and Mr. White, that will be subject of a public hearing at our next meeting. So if you've got some thoughts you'd like to share about it, you'll have an opportunity to do so at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Item I, council directives. Start with Mr. Freeman tonight.
I have nothing additional.
Thank you. Angie?
I have two things. The first is coming up this Saturday, the 14th, is the Kiwanis Boating and Fishing Flea Market and Nautical Art Show. That is going to be held at the Poquoson High School from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Admission is $5. $5 for speaker, if you want to go see the speakers, and then 12 and under is free. And the speakers that they have lined up this year, we have Sunny Inslee, Stan Simmerman, Aaron Holmes, and Craig Freeman. They fill the rooms with their knowledge. And come on out, and there's always good deals. If you want to clean out your garage and get a table, we would welcome that as well. And then second thing that I just wanted to mention, because it's a tool that I utilize every single day. And I know that Bud, well, I suspect that Bud will say that we should be more involved in our municipal government and our state government, or at least know what's going on. And one tool that I really, really appreciate, the Virginia VPAP, the Virginia Public Access Project has, which is a nonpartisan, nonprofit that just puts out information, websites, visuals, all that pertaining to local politics, local governments, state governments. They have a daily newsletter called VA News. And basically, it's an aggregation of all the original news reporting from around the state. So you get things from Cardinal News, Virginia Mercury, Richmond Times-Dispatch, a bunch of newspapers, all original reporting. And they send it right to your email every single day. And it is so insightful to read what's going on, not just in the legislative session, but also what's going on in the Martinsville City Council or wherever. And you just start reading it, and before you know it, you'll be a policy wonk and just keep learning more about your state government. So it's VA News, and go sign up. It's free, and it's a really good resource.
Can we get more information from?
Okay. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Angie. Jeannie?
Thank you. And I would also like to be a policy wonk, so could you just send me the direct link?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I actually have a few things. First, I want to begin by thanking our presenters tonight from VPCC, Carrie, Seth, Tracy, for taking the time to share with us that State of the College update. The partnership that we have is dear and close, and I was heartened by the information and the response to our questions. I think that's great. It just shows continued partnership there. I also want to take a moment to thank our city staff for the work y'all are doing to continue, or during this budget. It's not an easy time. Poquoson faces some unique challenges, and year after year, you guys manage those challenges with creativity, discipline, and of course, Poquoson first, right? You not only keep our heads above water, but held high, as we have that phrase, punching above our weight. And that's absolutely awe-inspiring. I think that you guys, you're fantastic. I wrote this down earlier today, and I said, apparently you can fast and still gain muscle. Who knew, right? We don't have anything coming in, right? But yet you guys are still doing amazing things with what you do have. I do want to remind everyone to get out and do your civic duty, to vote on the proposed constitutional amendment, but please read up on it and understand what you're actually voting on before you vote, because the wording may or may not make sense to you. So please read up before you get there. Proposed constitutional amendments tend to be complex, so please understand what you're choosing yes or no to. And we want you to make your voices heard and share with our representatives what you think. Finally, I'd like to share a quick community announcement. Poquoson High School's Tri-M, which is their Music Honor Society, is hosting its first jazz gala this Wednesday evening. You hear that, Bud? It's Wednesday evening, jazz gala. And it's from 6 to 7:30. It's their it's their spaghetti dinner show. And Tri-M is not just chorus, Tri-M is all the music. So you'll have people from the jazz band, people from the concert band, and then the different organizations that do music there. So that'll be at the high school. At the high school. It is $20 at the door, and it sounds like a great way to support our students and enjoy a great evening on Hump Day.
The date on that again is?
Wednesday, the 11th. say that to Bud because we have kids who are Tri-M people.
Mhm.
And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Jeannie. Keith?
Yes, first thing is, on Thursday morning is the Poquoson Mobile Food Pantry. It starts at 10 o'clock, goes to noon, but if you're going to come and volunteer, be there hopefully by about 8:30. This will be the first pantry we had since the closure of the parish food pantry. There might be some additional people there, and we hope we can accommodate as many as possible. Although I tend to leave it to the school board to congratulate the students for the success that they've had. Two things stand out over the last couple weeks that I think is worthy of note. We do see it. We do know what's going on. We tend to leave it to the school board. Was the Poquoson High School wrestling team taking state championship last month, followed just a couple weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, by the academic challenge team also taking state championship, which is quite a lot to say for a small town city like us. So congratulations to those students and the coaches and everybody else that gets them prepared for attaboy for all those. Thank you.
Keith, thank you. Ms. Southall?
Sure.
Yes, sir. Positive.
Well, first off, I'd like to thank everyone who came here tonight to pay attention to their city government, and everyone at home who's listening. I hope there's a lot of them out there doing that tonight. It's no secret that Poquoson is my favorite city. I've said that about every meeting. And the state of Virginia is my favorite state. I've done some traveling around the United States. Really beautiful places, guys. But none of them I'd rather live in than the state of Virginia. We have four ones we don't like when it gets really cold, okay? And we don't like it when it gets really hot, but we do have four seasons. Places either have hot or cold, okay? And Virginia is a nice place to live, plain is. And the city of Poquoson is the best place in Virginia to live. And I do tend to get political. I hate politicians, okay? And I am one, and I hate that part, but I am a politician, and I don't like it. And too frequently, the citizens do not pay attention. Too frequently, they don't pay attention to their state and federal governments. And when we elect politicians from the city up to the federal level, we expect them to represent the people. Too often, both political parties are more about politics than they are working the people's business. That's occurring in Virginia right now. We're having an early election, and it's going to be over in, 45 days, something like that. But they want to gerrymander the state of Virginia for this one election, okay, because another state did something, okay? It's one party versus another. And I do not belong to a political party. I vote for the people and what they say they're going to do, and whether or not I believe that they're honest, okay? Changing the election in the state of Virginia because another state may have done something that's not right isn't the right thing to do. It's not what either party should be doing for the citizens of the state of Virginia. So we need to keep Virginia fair, okay? Both parties have gerrymandered, okay? This is pure spite, political spite, okay? And too often I've seen one party vote against another party, either way, because it wasn't that party's bill. It's not supposed to work. They're supposed to do the people's business. We do the people's business. This is the best working city council in the state of Virginia. And we care about our people. We don't get paid thousands of dollars. Okay? Many times it costs us money to come here and do this. And sometimes it's not fun. Okay? But I'm asking everybody who may be listening to tell your friends, okay? We don't need to change our elections and make them unfair because another state may have done something to make it unfair. Because I can't tell you whether the other state made it unfair or not. I don't pay attention to the state of Texas or any other. I pay attention to Virginia. I vote here. And so I ask you to consider that in the upcoming election. I ask everybody who's hearing my voice to pay attention and vote. And the state of Virginia is right now doing some other things that might cost the citizens of this city. And Newport News, Williamsburg, and the rest of the cities also, but I'm not concerned about them as much as I am the city of Poquoson. That's House Bill 1263 and a Senate Bill 378, which would change Virginia from being a right-to-work state. I believe in giving any small business the opportunities to do work for a city government, or a state government, or a federal government, okay, the opportunity to do that. Not require that they can't do it because they're a small business and don't belong to a union. You want to join a union? Fine, okay? If you don't want to belong to a union, don't join. But every business, okay, needs to have the opportunity to compete. If all the citizens of Virginia are required to compete only with union contractors, it will cost us all a bunch of money. We're already fighting as hard as we can to keep our taxes low. And as hard as we're fighting, if anybody had paid attention or attended our last work session on the upcoming budget, we're having to consider things, services we might have to cut. And if we do, it might be good for some people, especially younger people, okay, but maybe we don't need to pick up trash. Well, it's great if you're 15 to 30 years old, okay? But if you're 55 to 80 years old, okay, having to pick up your own trash might not be a nice thing to do. So we're doing our best to keep our taxes low. And even at that, we may yet have to raise taxes. If the state does this, we will raise them even more. Not because we want to, because the state's going to require us to. So everybody pay attention to your city government, especially your state government right now, and the federal government. Off the little stool. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Southall. Debbie?
I don't have anything tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, well, you're welcome. I have a few things to comment on, and thank you, Jeannie. The special election on April 21st, that was on my list, so thank you for taking care of that. And I would like to add just a brief comment to that. You can go to our city website, to the voter registration, Amy and Tara. They do a good job of posting information there related to voting. Thank you to Jen Canella and Allison Kroll for helping us with IT. And welcome back to Mr. Moore. Hope you and Ms. Moore enjoyed your vacation. Very good. Well, nice to have you all back with us.
And the price for my 200 and some emails I'm working on.
Patience and perseverance. Thank you to Mr. Keith Webb for helping us out with our construction projects and for noticing things like the additional work at Station 2 that needed to be done. Thank you to council members for your engaging and insightful questions and comments, especially when we have presenters here, and to our staff as well. So thank you all for that. I'd like to comment on our 16th annual community group meeting, which was held on February 26th. And I understand that that was the brainchild of Mr. Dave Callis, our former director of economic development and Parks and Rec. Sadly, Dave passed away a little over a year ago, but just wanted to recognize him tonight for his contributions and ask that we all keep his memory alive. This year's event was hosted by our Community Recreation Department and our Poquoson Public Library, so thank you to staff in both of those departments. This year we had about 62 attendees representing about 30 community organizations within the city. So pause for just a minute, think about that. 30 community organizations within this small city. That's pretty impressive. I don't know if all of them were there, but that's a lot, and they do a lot of great things. This year, the theme was to encourage collaboration and networking, and I know at the tables where I was seated, it just reinforced how much of that goes on in the city, how much people work together for the common goal of serving the greater good, as we do on council. I know the staff does as well. It's just a common theme within the city. I'd also like to recognize and thank our library director, Ms. Jessica Hartley. This new format was her idea, and I think it was very well received. So thank you all to your contributions. And on another note, that's also related to that, and I mentioned this in my comments that night, but the night of the community group meeting, that was the third night that week that staff had worked all day and came back in the evening to support a city event. We had the council meeting on Monday, we had a budget retreat on Tuesday, and Thursday night they were back again supporting it. So that just again demonstrates through their actions, their dedication, and the effort that they put forth to serve the city, which includes all of us. And it further reinforces the responsibility that this council has to take care of our employees as best we can, that demonstrate daily the effort that they put forth to take care of the city. So just keep that in mind, please, as we move in deeper into the budget season. That concludes my comments.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I left out one.
Mr.
I'd like to welcome Mr. Paul Phelan, the new city engineer.
Absolutely.
That was on my sheet, and I didn't, I got so wound up in politics. Oh, I hate politicians, okay? I left that out. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Mr. Sal. Mr. Freeman?
I was just going to comment, you were talking about the community meeting. Councilman Fye
Yes, sir.
ran one of the groups.
Yes, sir.
That was at the table.
You're very good, and it's just that collaboration.
The only unpaid leader of one of the groups, I might add.
I don't think I was getting paid extra to be there.
Other duties as assigned.
The comments are well received, and if I could capitalize just a little bit. The positivity that we share throughout the community, it speaks volumes, and it helps to attract people of the caliber of Mr. Phelan that want to come be a part of it. So it's contagious. So Mr. Phelan's he's just another example, living proof that it is contagious, and people want to be part of something like this. I know it's one of my many motivations to serve is because who I get to work with, and for that I'm forever grateful. So thank you all. So are there any other comments from council members? Okay, well, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Councilman Freeman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Fye.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting.
Aye.
Mayor Hux.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. We are adjourned.